when I'm using the form. So I'm going to go ahead and use my pointer finger. Okay. So once, let me turn it. Okay, so I've already sanitized her hand. I sanitized my own. Next, I'm going to gently push back the cuticle with a cotton tip orange wood stick. So I have 2 orange wood sticks because remember we need one at the end. So since we have another one, I'm not going to use my whole cotton and I'm not going to throw it away because I know I'm going to need it a little bit later. Okay, I'm going to fold it and just tighten it. Okay, and all you have to do is just twist to tighten. You don't need a lot of cotton. Okay, the more cotton you put, it's going to be harder to stay on our orange wood stick. Okay, I'm going to push back. Remember, I'm going to push around my sidewalls. I'm going to push around my eponychium, my sidewalls, and I'm done. That's it. 2 seconds. Okay, I'm going to throw it in the trash because I don't need that one anymore. Next, I'm going to use my medium abrasive to remove shine from the nail plate. I'm going to use my file. This is a medium abrasive. Okay, so again, because we're working on our natural nail plate, I'm only going to go in one direction. Whether it's my right to left or my left to right, only one direction on our natural nail plate. So I'm going to go ahead, come in. Now, because we're using acrylic, we're able to use the file to etch the nail plate so that it is a little bit more, we have more ridges for our acrylic or our liquid powder. Adheres better to our natural nail plate. Okay. For our cuticle area, if it's hard for you to get in with your file, you can come in with your edge of your brush, of your file, and just etch it. Just to get into our cuticle area. That's it. So I'm done with this one. I'm going to go ahead, toss away. Next, I have my lint-free white. I put 2 just in case. If I drop one, I can throw that one. I have an extra one. And then I have my cleanser. Same like yesterday, I'm going to put my wipe in my palm. Spray about 2-3 times. I'm done. I'm not going to use this anymore, so I'm going to toss it in my bag. And then I'm going to cleanse my nail plate. Okay. And try to remove any debris with her Russian manicure 2.0. I'm going to toss that because I know I didn't need this one. I'm going to toss it as well. Okay. Next, I'm going to apply dehydrator. Oh, that's what I just did. Next, I'm going to position our nail form to fit snugly under our free edge. Okay. Do you see how I left just a tiny bit? I didn't bring it all the way down because I need to be able to tuck my form in here. Okay. Again, play around, see what works for you as far as getting your form to fit on your nail. I have 2 forms with me. Just in case I don't get the first one correctly, I have a second one as a backup. But once I have my form on, I'm going to toss that one as well. Okay, so me, again, the way I like, I'm going to throw my trash. I like saving this little circle thingamajigger here, and I put it on the back just to make it a little bit more stronger, have a little bit more structure on there. It won't be as weak. And I just like do this just so that this won't be so stiff. So I rock it just a little bit. Now, for me, again, this is how I see my form, like a little butterfly. So I have my first wing, my second wing, and my third wing. Okay. So I'm going to open. I'm going to use these little flaps on my finger. I'm going to stick them on there so that I could bend it. And my goal is to get these 2 together as evenly as I possibly can because I want those numbers nice and straight. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead. And I'm not going to pinch it too much, just very little so that I have my nice little circle. Okay? There's even as I could have gotten them, which I did pretty good today, let me tell you. I'm making myself into a liar. Just like, okay? I'm going to do a square. It's easier just to get the test done. I'm not going to try and be too fancy. So I'm going to leave a big circle so that I can have my square. If I were to pinch it, it would be more tapered in, so I wouldn't be able to do a nice square. So I'm going to leave it like this. Next, I'm going to widen these just a bit to where I just tear it just a little bit so that when I put it on, these aren't going onto the skin and I have a little bit more control. Okay. Like I did with the nail tip, you know how we rocked it? I'm going to do the same with my form. That works for me. You can go in straight. You have like a whole roll that you have 2 rolls that you can play with, okay? I like to rock it because that's what works for me. So when I put it on, I sort of come at a little angle. I come at a little angle and I meet those 2 little corners and I bring up, I slide my finger and I tighten. Okay, we want it as straight as we can possibly get it. It's okay if these don't even or match with each other because it's really just there to hold it into place. It's our first one that we wanted to match as close as possible so that we have that nice straight line. Okay? I did it, guys. Okay, so that's our goal. So I have my form on. She looks like she's staying. So I don't need this one anymore. So before I start my next step, I'm going to toss that. Okay? So now that I have put my form nice and snug, I'm going to use my primer. You girls have, it says Bond, the Valentino one, the Beauty. This is my little bond that they give me. I don't get the good stuff. Okay, so with our primer, this one you will do today because it's part of the steps. So I want you to get used to doing it. So you will use your bond today. If you don't want to use the Beauty because it is expensive, buy yourself a cheap little bond from like EP or something to have in your kit if you girls want to. If not, then just stick to that one. So again, I like to put my bond like this. That's just me, but you can do it like if it's polished as well. Okay, we want to make sure that we get all around our cuticle, our side walls, but we avoid the skin as much as we possibly can. And since I am done with my bond, I'm going to go ahead and trash it. Nice. Okay, so I have, we're going to pretend I have little lids on here, okay? So I have my brush. These bad boys I'll put right there. When you're going to do your powder and liquid, okay, it's going to stay in the container until you get to this step. Don't pre-pour it or anything like that. Wait till you get to this step, then you begin to pour or squeeze in. So I have my little lids, right? Pretend I have my little lids. So I'm going to open the lid for my first one and I'm going to go ahead and put my powder. So when I put my, seriously girl, pretend I had a tip in there, okay? Because this one, yeah. So your container will have your little tip because that's going to be your little scoopy, right? So I open the lid to my dampen dish, and I'm gonna put a few spoons of powder. Okay. Once I'm done, I'm gonna close my lid. I'm gonna close my powder. I'm gonna toss it. Okay, my lid is closed because I'm not using it right now. So I've closed my lid because I still have to pour my monomer. Okay. So next, Monday.
Can we keep a nail inside?
Yes, yeah. That's why I want you girls to get one. It doesn't have to be so big, but I need it big enough so that you can keep a tip in there. So that you can pour it, because they don't want to see this. They need to see you scoop it in there. Because it's more.
So we have to have like an extra one on the side? Or what are you talking about?
What do you mean?
It's with the supply.
Yes, it's on the supply list.
Oh,
It's a little cosmetic container. A little one is fine. I put 2 ounce because that's what this one is, and so I was like, oh, maybe a 2 ounce. But even if you find like the 1 ounce, it's okay, just as long as a tip can fit in there. Okay. So I have my lid closed. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna use my dropper, and I'm gonna put a few. Remember, I'm only working on one nail. But me personally, I would prefer to have extra in there than not enough. Okay. So once I'm done, go ahead and close. I closed my lid. Remember, I closed my lid because I'm not using it yet. I'm going to toss my little dropper, and then I'm tossing my monomer into the black bag, and now I'm ready to begin. Remember, when we are working on tips, when we're working on forms, whatever the case may be, our first application, whether it's going to be acrylic or hard gel, we need to make sure that we secure our free edge with our form or tip where that extension is. That's always going to be our first bead, and it's going to be our largest bead. Okay? So I'm going to clean my brush really quick. And when I am cleaning my brush, I'm gonna try to avoid using the same area because I have this whole napkin to myself for one nail. Okay. The reason you do not want to clean your brush on the same spot is because of that residue that we're taking off of our brush has now landed on this spot. So if I continue cleaning in the same spot, guess what? I'm just rubbing it into the residue. I'm gonna end up getting acrylic stuck inside my brush, and then I have to soak it, and then it's not going to work properly, and all that stuff that we do not want to happen to our brushes. Okay, so I've already did it. So I'm going to go ahead and dip for a few seconds, maybe like 3-4 seconds. Same, I'm only going to remove liquid from one side. When I turn it over, all of the monomers on the bottom of my brush. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and place it on. I'm going to bounce. Okay, I don't like my bead because look, I got it on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and clean my brush off. Okay, you can do that. Don't think that you have to use that bead that you picked up. Okay, remember we have 22 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and come back. Gonna remove. I'm going to turn over. I'm going to place. And I'm going to get a big bead. I'm not going to make such a long nail, but long enough for them to be able to see that my form was straight. Because they're not going to come and check here. They're going to check when we're done if our nail is straight and what our C-curve looks like. Okay, and then of course the foundation. So I'm letting it sit. I'm going to turn it over because it's taking a little too long to get shiny. Okay. So again, ooh, girl. So again, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start where my form meets my tip, and I'm going to place down half on my tip, half on my form. I'm not even putting pressure. I'm just letting it fall off of my brush. I have a bit of residue, so I'm going to go ahead and clean. I'm not gonna re-wet, because if I re-wet it, what's gonna happen is that bead is gonna soak up that monomer, and now it's gonna make it watery, and now it's gonna take longer for it to set, okay? So I'm letting it sit, it's nice and shiny. So now with my middle of my brush, with the bevel, I'm gonna use this part of my brush to spread my bead from side to side wall, okay? Ah, girl, come on. So now, I'm not even focusing on my free edge yet. I'm gonna bring my bead sidewall to sidewall, make sure that it's covering. So I'm gonna be bringing her side to side, side to side. Okay, I'm gonna use the side of my brush to clean up right there. Still side to side. Okay, just a little brush to smooth it out. So now I'm done. I feel good about it. I'm gonna go ahead and dip to clean my brush, remove any residue. I'm gonna dip for a few seconds, brush off. My next bead, I'm not gonna get as big, but I'm gonna do a medium bead. I'm placing, bouncing. It's okay. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and place. Half of my bead is going on bead number 1, and then the rest is gonna go on my natural nail plate. I'm gonna hold it and let it fall all on its own. Okay, I don't have to put pressure. It's gonna fall off completely on its own. And then I'm gonna start very lightly, bringing it sidewall to sidewall, and doing a tiny little brush to start blending it in to my bead number 1. Okay. I'm not even paying attention to this section or even my sidewalls anymore, because I got it to where I wanted it, and it's not really running, so I don't even have to like mess with it. Okay. So all I'm doing is blending these two together, smoothing it out, and removing as much monomer as I possibly can, so that it doesn't take too long to cure. Okay, so I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna clean my brush. I'm not gonna get such a big bead, not as big as the medium, but not too small. I need it big enough to be able to push back to my cuticle and still be able to blend it into my bead number 2. So I'm gonna go ahead, damn, I get a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so remember, like we did in the picture, in our little mat, I'm not gonna get it too close to my cuticle area, so majority of it is gonna go on bead number 2. I'm gonna let it fall. Do you see how I left that gap right there? Because with my brush, I'm gonna push back my bead. I'm gonna put some pressure back there so that the bead falls into my cuticle. I'm gonna clean this sidewall right here, as it got some there. I'm gonna come to this sidewall. She has a Russian manicure 2.0, so I'm going to pretend that is her cuticle area because I soaked some off yesterday. And it came off when I was filing, so here I'm gonna clean, and you're able to like move her, okay? Don't think that you have to keep her straight, and don't think you have to keep her down here. You can bring her up here. I'm just doing it down here so that the camera can catch it. Okay, now that I'm blending bead number 3 with 2 and 1. Now, all I'm gonna do now is just continue swiping, and what I'm doing, my goal is to remove as much monomer as I can. so that it doesn't take too long to dry. Okay. I don't even really have to mess. Well, this sidewall just keeps getting like flooded. That's okay. Okay. So now that I'm done, I'm going to let her sit and just clean my brush off. You girls have a lid. So you can just close the lid for your powder. It won't fall out, but with your napkin, you can soak up the monomer, okay? That way, just in case you're worried about it falling into everything, just soak it up with the napkin. Or you can even get a bigger strand of the cotton and then use the cotton to soak it up, okay? Once I'm done, I'm just gonna toss that in the trash. I'm gonna close my little lid and then I'm gonna put them in the trash as well, okay? So I'm gonna let her sit for a little bit. I've already used my 3 bead method. I'm just gonna go ahead and wait for a second, take a breath. Right? Because it's stressful. Even though we know what we're doing, it's still stressful having somebody literally walking up and down. That's all they're going to be doing, is walking up and down and watching you. Some will like stand there and just literally watch you, and then they'll go. So it's nerve-wracking. It's a lot of pressure. I definitely remember. And I was with a person, and obviously they couldn't talk, right? We couldn't have a conversation, and my mom would like breathe, like talk under her breath, like, just breathe. And I'm like, Mom, stop it. Sing to yourself, Mom, stop it. Like, it was just funny. Okay, so now I believe that it is done. So the way I'm going to check is by pinching. If it comes off, it's done. If it starts moving, your extension starts moving with your form, stop and let it sit for a little bit longer. Okay, but if it comes off just as easy as that, that means it's done. But I'm still gonna wait a few seconds because remember this was my last bead, so it's gonna take a little bit longer than my first bead to cure. So I'm gonna go ahead, leave her there. I'm gonna throw this away. I'm gonna wait, give it a second or two. Okay, now I'm gonna define my shape and the length of my free edge. So I'm going to start from my sidewall to sidewall first, and then I'm going to come to my free edge.
Do we go in one direction or no, right?
Now you can saw. Okay, now you can saw because we already have product on our natural nail plate, so you are able to go back and forth, whatever, however you'd like. I still tend to only go in one direction. It's just me, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and start on my sidewall. Same thing. Remember, I'm going to use my pointer. So you girls figure out what works best for you because I've seen other people file other ways, okay? So I'm going to start here, but remember, we still have to go at an angle because we want to avoid coming like this. Okay, so we're going to go at an angle. I'm going to go ahead and file first the shape. I'm going to still focus on this section here where my free edge meets my nail. I'm going to focus there first, remove any acrylic that I might have gotten that's flushing that area. Now I'm going to focus on my edge. Okay, I'm going to look at her. I'm going to come under to file under. Then I'm going to come up and look. You want to be able to inspect your own work, okay? Don't think that you just have to file and then that's it. Like you can't look to see if you did a good job or not. Look at your work. We have 22 minutes. I promise you, by the time you go and test, it's gonna take you less than 20 minutes to do it, okay? So take advantage of that time and check. They're gonna look at your shape. They're gonna check to see if your nail is straight. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to turn her over like if she was a hand so that I can do her edge because that works for me. I'm gonna make sure that, well, her finger's all crooked, or it's just me. I'm gonna go ahead. You have to keep it as though it's realistic person. So you can bring her up here. You're still able to turn her this way. You're able to bring back and forth, but we can't like come like this, okay? We can't do that because obviously we're not doing that with our clients, okay? We have to try and keep her as realistic as possible, okay? So I'm gonna look at my shape. I'm still not happy with it, so I'm not even gonna touch my foundation. I'm still gonna focus here and just look at my, well, don't do that, okay? But yes, you can do this. Okay, so I'm gonna focus and see, make sure that she's nice and straight. I'll turn her over again. Okay, so she's straight. Okay, we want to make sure that she's straight. I have my apex right there. I haven't touched it yet, but we need something like this. A little bit, you can do it just a little bit shorter if you'd like, but this I believe is a perfect length, which was a 1. I think it's a little over 1.5. That way they can tell you're straight. And even by the time you go, you're probably going to be more comfortable with even making a longer nail than this. But this is really like all we need, because they just need to see that you put your form on properly. And they need to see this little C. You see how it has that little curve, that C shape? That's what they need to see. That's what they're looking for, okay? So now I'm happy with my shape. I'm happy with my edge. So now I'm going to go ahead and focus on my foundation. I'm going to come do my cuticle area first, and then I'm going to come up. But that's just me. You can do it any direction you like or any which way you'd like. I like to do my one direction. If you want to do this, you're more than welcome to. But me, again, that's just me. So I'm going to look, and did you see how little stuff was coming off? Mm-hmm. Right? All that residue, all that adhesive. So I'm just going to continue coming back and forth. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take a look. She has a little bump here, so I'm going to come back. And you can do this, okay? Don't think that, again, that you have to do the step, file, and then you don't get to fix her. Okay? So I'm happy with her. I think I did a good job. So I'm just going to leave her like that because I think I did a good job, okay? I make sure that she has her apex, right? You see how this is a little bit more thicker. It's a little bit more risen than the rest of her nail. So next, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get my buffer. I'm done with this. I'm going to toss her. I'm going to get my buffer. Same. Going to buffer one direction just because that works for me. You're more than welcome to do this up and down. Just don't stay in one section for too long. It might cause friction and then you'll get a heat spike on a person, of course. But on her, you can do it however. Everything's nice and smooth. So I'm done with this section. Next, I'm going to go to my shiner. Because we have a two-sided shiner, they're two different colors, you're going to have to use your green one, your green side first, and then we'll go. So this is just going to smooth it out a bit more than the buffer, and then this side is going to do that nice shine. Okay? You don't want to stop until you see that shine. Okay? Do you see how you can barely even hear it? Like it's just smoothing it out. That's all it's doing. Okay? You see how it's nice, smooth? There's a little tiny shine, but not too much, right? Do you see how it looks a little matte? Right, there's no shine? Okay. So next, I'm gonna use my shine side. This one is the one I am gonna do back and forth in a sewing position. And I'm only doing half so that you can see the difference. You see how that half, and then look at the difference? Right? Okay, so now I'm gonna do my other half. And I'm gonna do it until I feel like this girl is shiny, because I want that point, right? Okay, I think she's good. She's nice and shiny, right? She looks like she has a top coat on. Okay, that's what we want. We want it to get as shiny as possible. I'm done with this section, so I'm gonna go ahead and toss that bad boy. Last, I have add cuticle with oil cotton tip, orange wood stick around our cuticle area. Okay, so I'm gonna get the last of my cotton. I'm not gonna need all of that. You girls, your cuticle oil is a brush on. So you're gonna want to brush it on to the orange wood stick. Don't use the brush during the service, okay, for PSI. Put it on your orange wood stick, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead, mine's a little dropper. And again, because it's expensive, your cuticle oil. So if you wanna get a EP, like a little tiny bottle, as long as you make sure it says cuticle oil. If not, we'll just make a label for it. Like my daughter, we traded for some reason. Oh, she needed my bottle, so she left me her bottle, but this was her cuticle oil. Right, you can do something like that if you don't want to use your Be Beauty, okay?
Is it okay if we like I usually use like jojoba oil as cuticle oil? Can we just pour it and then it doesn't have to be like an official brand of cuticle oil?
No, it doesn't have to be a brand as long as it's labeled. You have to make sure if you're not going to use it and if there's no label on there, you need to make a label saying cuticle oil.
Oh.
That's it. Okay? So now, when it says the cuticle area, it means the skin around our sidewall and our epinicium. That's what it means, not our cuticle, because we already took off the cuticle, okay? But that's what it means. They just call it, I don't know why they call it that. And then I'm done. Oh, so I pretend I threw this away, okay? Because I was done with it. Now I'm done with this. I'm going to toss it. I'm going to go ahead and bring her here. I'm going to get rid of my stuff. I have my little paper towel so I don't forget to clean. I'm going to toss that, stand up. I'm going to grab everything off of my table. I'm going to spray. I'm going to spray. Not put her down. You guys caught me, huh? I'm going to go ahead and clean my section. I'm going to go ahead and make sure to clean my chair. Okay.